Hello there YouTube world, what is on your mind today? Can't hear you. You're going to have to write it in that box if anything, because, you know, I thought I'd do one of these cheesy little things where I talk to you even though I know you can't hear me, and pretend that I can't hear you, but yeah, it's not worked, has it? I've not really pulled it off. Anyway, let's move on. I've been thinking about the WWE brand extension brand split lately, and like, my whole feelings towards it. You know, the whole Raw and SmackDown is two separate entities rather than the WWE just being one big thing where everyone's on the same show. Personally, I'm a massive hater of this system of the brand split, if I'm being honest. I want both Raw and SmackDown to go back together, all become one show again, because, you know, you don't get the best out of everyone. But let me give you a bit of history behind it for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are new fans, or for those of you who did know and just want to go through a little bit of a recap with me and pick apart what I'm saying, because I probably will make a few mistakes along the way. The WWE brand split happened March 25th, 2002. I've just looked it up on Wikipedia just now. I might have just forgotten the date and changed it in my mind. Anyway, March 25th, 2002, when Ric Flair picked the Raw brand and Vince McMahon picked the SmackDown brand, and they both drew their own picks, and then blah 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 blah. Since that date, we've had two separate brands travelling on two different shows, where Raw guys would stay on Raw, SmackDown stars would stay on SmackDown. Whereas before, everyone was in one big roster together, and then they'd all wrestle on Raw, and then they'd all wrestle on SmackDown, or some would wrestle on Raw, some would wrestle on SmackDown, for example. Now, my main problem with the split is that it really dilutes the talent pool, because instead of only needing 30 guys, now they've got 60 guys, and whereas before they'd have just the best 30, or maybe the best 25 and then 5 others who just fit in there, now they've got like the best like 40 guys and then just 20 guys who they're going to try out and see if they're any good, and then some guys who have been proved who can do an okay job, so they're going to keep them around, i.e. William Regal and Fit Finlay, who aren't that good anymore, who, you know, shouldn't really be on the roster. They should have other people in there, but you know, it's just, there's too many people. They should just, it works a lot better in my opinion if you've only just got a shorter number of people who've got more talent, so you can concentrate on those. You have less people to concentrate on. You can formulate storylines better because you've got 8 shows to build up to pay-per-views rather than just 4 separate Raws. You'll have 4 Raws and 4 SmackDowns to build it all together. And another problem I've got now is that Raw guys aren't just exclusive to Raw anymore. They keep going over to SmackDown and having matches on SmackDown and vice versa, and it's like, it's just making the whole brand extension thing useless. It doesn't mean anything anymore, because like, you might be a Raw wrestler, but you can go on SmackDown and wrestle. You can turn up on SmackDown any time that you want. You know, it didn't used to be like that in the old days. It used to really keep it really separately and be a really big deal. Like when Brock Lesnar went over to Raw and attacked Goldberg, or the vice versa. I can't remember who attacked who. I think Lesnar went over to Raw, and then Goldberg went over to SmackDown, and they attacked each other. That was a really big thing. It's like, wow, what's Lesnar doing on Raw? He's not. Even though I wasn't a actual mark, I was a bit more of a smart mark back then. I was like, wow, WWE don't do that. They keep the SmackDown guys on SmackDown and the Raw guys on Raw. What they're doing with Lesnar over to Raw, it was a big deal. Now it happens all the time. With like the start of this year, you had Jericho appearing on all 3 shows, NXT, Raw and SmackDown. It just got a bit like overkill, to be honest. And also the main problem with it, in my opinion, is you got 2 world titles. You do not have one key player who to build your company on. In the old days, you'd have Rock, you'd have Undertaker, you'd have Hogan, you'd have Bret Hart, you'd have Shawn Michaels, guys that Vince McMahon would build his company around. Now he's got guys like John Cena who's on Raw, so he can build Raw around him, but he can't really build the company around him, because he's not even if he was the world champ, he wouldn't be anything spectacular, because he'd be on par with somebody else. He'd be on par with the guy who's the heavyweight champion over, or the WWE champion over on the other brand, and it doesn't really work. You need one guy who's clear to the top. You need to build your company around that guy, in my opinion, for your company to be successful. Obviously, that guy needs to be good and talented, and I personally believe that John Cena is the guy who they should be building the company around, but they need him to be that key player, that one guy who's above everybody else. At the moment, the 2 titles are just clashing. In my opinion, they need to unify the belts. They also need to unify the IC and the US belt, which lately they've had Ziggler versus Bryan, keep going at it. I'm hoping they build it towards a unification match. We've unified the World Tag Team titles about 2 years ago. We've unified the women's titles. So no, the problems are being solved, but the main problem is the world title, because we do not have a one clear guy who's the man in the sport. We need that one clear man. If the WWE are going to say, do you know what, Randy Orton is our man, and we're going to let Randy Orton run with this belt for 3 months, and then we're going to put it on Sheamus, or we're going to put it on Triple H when he's back, or whoever. That's how you need to build your company. You need to build it on these megastars and not have two guys who are equal to each other and then being beaten, because it's just putting lots of guys in that top place and not really having a one shining light to really guide your company. Like Hulk Hogan in the 80s was that one guy who WWE just give the ball and he ran with it. He absolutely sprinted with it. He was a Usain Bolt of his day. He took wrestling to another level. Then you had Bret Hart. Now, wrestling wasn't really a big draw in those days, and people say, oh, Bret Hart wasn't a draw, but in my opinion it's because cable television was coming through then more and more, and people didn't want to really go see it live because they'd watch it on TV. Bret Hart was really important in my opinion, because all the kids loved him. As a kid, he was my favourite wrestler, he still is to this day. They show videos of Bret Hart going over to India and all the kids would go absolutely mental for him. He was the guy that they built the company around, and you know, still to this day you've got people like me who's now 22 years old looking back going, you know, Bret Hart was amazing. Even though I know wrestling's predetermined, I'm like, Bret Hart was he was amazing. He was the guy. Now we don't have anyone like that, because we've got Cena who's the guy, but then we've got Undertaker who's the guy over there, and then we've got Randy Orton who's going to be the guy, and Triple H who's going to be the guy, so that we've not got one clear guy who's going to push the company forward. I'm blabbering on, I'm sorry. Yeah, basically what I'm saying is, what do you think of the brand extension? Because other people, this is another thing I wanted to touch on, was brand exclusive pay-per-views. I really hated brand exclusive pay-per-views, because we'd have to wait 2 months to see a progression of a world title match. And for example, say we'd have Triple H versus Goldberg, and Triple H just screwed Goldberg out of the belt. Goldberg would have to wait 2 months till he got a proper rematch. And it was just like, oh come on, I don't want to wait 2 months to see this. I want to wait 1 month to see Goldberg Triple H again, go at it one-on-one, steel cage, whatever. Let's have it. People on the forums online, they've been saying, oh, I think they should go back to single branded pay-per-views. I think that'd be a massive mistake, because then you'll be having matches like, for example, Primo Cologne versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, Dolph Ziggler's an okay talent, Primo Cologne's an okay talent, but that's not going to be a match that's going to make people go, I want to watch this pay-per-view. You need one brand, in my opinion. What do you think? Do you think that it should be one brand? Do you think they should stay Raw and SmackDown? Do you think they should unify the titles, or do you think they should keep the titles separate? Do you think that the pay-per-views, if they are to stay the same, be sole branded or be dual branded like it is now? Do you think WWE NXT is a good idea? Now they've got the women's thing, it's sort of tailored off a little bit, and I'm not too keen on the idea anymore. So yeah, I'd love to know what you think. Please put it in the description box. And with that, I am out. See you later.